Hello babes, welcome back to the channel. If you are new, welcome. So today we are going to discuss the absolute hot mess of the second Sex and the City movie that absolutely no one asked for. So let's get into it. Welcome to Iconically Iconic. So, like my previous Sex and the City movie breakdown, this will have mainly pictures, not many clips, because with the movie, they're extremely strict with copyright and I had to re-edit this video multiple times. However, I will include some clips, but this will be more podcast style. So you could work out, run errands, clean the house, whatever it is that you want to do, because this is going to be a long video. This movie was an entire mess from start to finish. The plot was all over the place, dragged out for 2 hours and 20 minutes, easily could have been trimmed down to an hour and 40. So many unnecessary filler scenes, but the fashion was good. I may end up talking about that more than the movie itself. So, the movie opens up with Carrie, now newly married, giving us a quick recap of how she met the girls. They're all gathering for a wedding no one saw coming. Stanford and Anthony are tying the knot. This also made no sense, but we'll go with it for the sake of talking about the film. Carrie is Stanford's best woman, which I actually loved. It was a sweet moment and I liked how she fully supported his big day. The wedding itself was over the top, but I am always here for over the top celebrations and a little bit of extraness. Not all the time, but I think your wedding and birthdays should be as over the top as you want them to be. So I wasn't mad at it. My only complaint was the lack of color. While I got the aesthetic, I wanted a little more pop, like the flowers and decor. Anyways, Anthony makes it clear that he had nothing to do with the wedding planning.
You are not the wedding planner?
Hell to the no. I pulled out when Stanford mentioned swans.
Anthony said, I may be a wedding planner, but this is not my doing. And then lets them know that he let Stanford have his way because he is allowed to cheat in the 45 states where they aren't married. Okay. I hated that addition to the script. I don't know, it just felt like a lazy stereotype to me, reinforcing the idea that gay men can't be faithful in relationships. Sure, different couples have different dynamics, but it just felt unnecessary to me. So there were many scenes in this movie that didn't really matter and just dragged on. But let's talk about one of my favorite things to discuss, and that's the fashion. Charlotte and Miranda were the best dressed in this entire film. I was so happy that Miranda finally got the fashion treatment she deserved, because if I am honest, she was often overlooked in the wardrobe department. And maybe it's just me, but I feel like redheads are often forgotten about when it comes to fashion and film. Very rarely do we see the redhead be the iconic fashion girly, but this time they got it right. From start to finish, Miranda looked incredible, and she seemed lighter and more carefree in this film too. Now, I loved Miranda so much in this movie. Usually she gets on my nerves, but she was the most pleasant. The colors they put on her complemented her red hair beautifully. She wore deep hues and rich colors that warmed up her complexion and made her glow. One of my favorite looks was the halter neck top paired with the chartreuse pants. When they went out to lunch with the girls, the gold detailing at the neckline, chef's kiss. Then there was the all-white shopping look, the blazer, the Hermes dress. It was so effortless, but it stood out. And then the green ensemble she wore by the pool with the matching headscarf. Yes, Miranda. Miranda was showing out, okay? I also loved the Hermes multicolored striped dress she wore. Ugh. It is still one of my absolute faves. I wasn't really a fan of the hat too much, but I loved the chunky belt pairing with the striped dress. Miranda was serving so many looks. Abu Dhabi was not ready for her, okay? They were not. This was the best she has ever looked, and I feel like they went all out with the wardrobe to make up for how underwhelming the wardrobe was in the first movie, because the wardrobe in the first movie just wasn't there for me, in my opinion. The wardrobe was just a hot mess. Now to my girl, Miss Charlotte. Miss Charlotte, baby. First of all, I love that even though she's traditional, she embraces color and doesn't just stick to safe neutrals, and she avoided the matronly looks and structures. She may have been more traditional, but she was also sexy and sophisticated. The tribal look she wore at breakfast was simple, but it stood out to me. It felt like she stepped out of her comfort zone with the pattern. Then the fuchsia pattern Alexander McQueen dress, just stunning. And I'm always here for anything pink, especially the opening scene, because she was not here to play with the girls. But my absolute favorite, the red and white striped dress and the way she styled it. This look gave Audrey Hepburn and Grace Kelly. I know almost everyone loves this look, but that's because it's just that good. It's timeless. I don't think this look would ever look bad no matter what era we're in. The structure, the fit, it was perfectly tailored. There was no weird draping or gaping, no weird spillage out of the dress because it's too tight. It was just a perfect look. And it will always be one of my favorite Charlotte looks. And yes, I am still going to do a Charlotte style breakdown video, so be on the lookout for that. It's coming, but I have so many videos to do. But it's definitely coming. Samantha and Carrie had some good fashion moments too. Carrie's green Lanvin dress is still one of my favorite Carrie looks because she let the dress do the talking and didn't over accessorize. And the blue dress Samantha wore by the pool with the girls, loved it. But in this movie, Charlotte and Miranda carried the fashion on their backs. Now let's get back into the breakdown. I'm going to skip over a lot of scenes because, like I said before, they just made no sense. So the girls are catching up at Anthony and Stanford's wedding, and Miranda's dealing with her sexist, arrogant boss who treats her like she doesn't belong. Big shows back up at the table and casually mentions that one of the men hit on him, and he's feeling himself because of it. And when Carrie asks how he feels about it, he tells Carrie,
like I still got it.
You most certainly do.
I know that's right, Big. Big said, I am him. Then this random couple interrupts them because the wife is a huge fan of Carrie and starts talking about how much they have in common. It's cute until they ask if Carrie and Big have kids or plan to. Now, that wasn't too bad. It was a small conversation. It's a little intrusive for strangers you don't know, but then the husband makes a weird comment about surrogacy. Sir, you do not know these people and you are completely overstepping your boundaries and lacking couth. First off, it is extremely inappropriate to insert your opinions or make assumptions about someone's personal life, especially around something as sensitive as children or fertility. You have no idea what someone may be going through, and even if they just don't want kids, that's not your business. What irritated me most was how they made it awkward afterward just because Carrie and Big said it would just be the two of them. And what about it? You don't even know these people to be so pressed about their decision. Couples like this piss me off because if you're so happy and fulfilled in your life, why does someone else's choices threaten you? Mind the business that pays you. No one asked for your input, and quite frankly, the people who are like this have children for selfish reasons, like to make them feel as though they're special and accomplished and to boost the very little self-esteem that they have, and use their children as do-overs for their life and want to live vicariously through their children. Anyway, we get Liza Minnelli performing Single Ladies. Liza, you are iconic, legendary even, but that cover was rough. It felt like she was chasing the beat the whole time. There was energy there, but no rhythm. Just leave it to our good sis B. Later, Samantha meets a guy at the bar, of course, and we all know how that goes. Later on, Carrie and Big are sandwiched between Charlotte's crying baby and Samantha's loud good time. Big throws on an old black and white movie to drown it all out, and I liked the scene. It was a cute, intimate moment between the two without the chaos, but we know that never lasts for too long. The next day, the girls are at brunch, and I still can't get over how they wrote Samantha in this movie. They could have explored menopause in a way that was still funny without making her a complete caricature. The writing just got extremely lazy, and I hate how women are spoken about when it comes to their periods and menopause or our hormones as a joke. It's time to come up with fresh material when it comes to women's hormones and periods. Stop using them as lazy punchlines. If you're going to joke about it, at least make it informative. Move beyond the tired, stereotypical portrayals in film and TV that paint women as unstable or overly dramatic. These are real experiences that deserve nuance, not mockery. Then there's the whole nanny situation. Charlotte brings the girls to brunch, and as usual, she's holding it together on the outside. Even though she has the girls with her, she has help, who happens to be a pretty nanny. And of course, the girls can't help sexualizing her. That annoyed me for so many reasons. One, Charlotte didn't have an issue with her. She trusted her. She appreciated her support because she was an excellent nanny, and they projected their feelings onto her.
And how much the girls liked her.
So her tits never came up.
No, her tits never came up. And she's amazing.
I'm sure she is, but honey, there ought to be a law against hiring a nanny that looks like that.
Yeah, the Jude law.
And two, the women knew that Charlotte was extremely sensitive. Once the women started teasing, you could see she started to overthink. Was the nanny's clothing appropriate? Maybe, maybe not, but I wasn't the one to hire her. Charlotte was. Charlotte clearly didn't care until they made it a thing. And when you work in someone's home, yes, the dress code does become a conversation, but it clearly wasn't a conversation with Charlotte. I just wish they hadn't turned this into such a tired, predictable, hot nanny trope. Back home, Carrie and Big are relaxing when she suddenly wants to go out to dinner. Now, maybe it's just the tourist in me, but I'm with Big on this one. We were just surrounded by crowds, partying and socializing. I want to kick back and relax now, ma'am. That would have been enough partying for me for a few months, because that was a lot and my social battery would have been completely drained. With all of those people and lollygagging, no ma'am, this is enough. Even though it was a wedding, it was still a lot of people and a lot of social activity. And Carrie knew Big wasn't the club hopping, party every weekend type of guy, maybe in his 20s, but when she met him, he was not that. He might enjoy a good time here and there, but he was older now. I think he was in his 50s. Yeah, I believe he was in his 50s. Let him relax, girl. In the following scene, Miranda finally reaches her breaking point with her a-hole of a boss. He keeps cutting her off and even puts his hand in her face. Excuse me?
You done lost your damn mind. When you get your damn mind, you call me.
So she mirrors his behavior, and he doesn't like it. Of course he doesn't. The moment he hands her case over to another man for no reason was the last straw. And we do know the reason. It's because he was a man and he felt that Miranda's voice didn't matter. She quits and goes to see Brady present his project at school, as she should. Now back at Charlotte's, she walks in to find the nanny bathing the kids and her top gets wet. Harry is in the bathroom and I do not know why. This is the nanny's job, to give you and Charlotte more free time. It was inappropriate for him to stay there chuckling like it was funny when she's clearly braless and in a soaked top. That moment just rubbed me the wrong way. Like, what exactly was so amusing? Why are you still in there and didn't excuse yourself? Harry knew better. Later, Charlotte calls Carrie and asks if she has anything to worry about. Carrie reassures her, and there's a lot of chaos going on in the background with the kids while she's on the phone. Lily is trying to get her mother's attention over and over again. So this time, Lily decides that she will put paint on her mother.
Of course not. I love Aaron and I trust Harry. I believe you just answered your own question. Me. Lily, this skirt is vintage. What skirt? It's the cream Valentino. Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry. I gotta go. Lily, look at what you did. Mommy, just to get something.
And I really appreciated this scene. It showed a vulnerable human side of Charlotte when it came to parenting. Even though she seemed to be a perfect, put-together mother who could handle anything and always looked her best. Like many stay-at-home mothers, they have their moments of feeling overwhelmed. Yes, she has the life she always wanted, but she's still allowed to feel that way. That doesn't make her or any mother a bad mom. It makes her human. That moment where she breaks down crying in the pantry was so real and raw. I felt so bad for Charlotte. Sometimes you need a moment to gather yourself, your thoughts, and just Let that cry out. It's therapeutic. You're not always going to be super mom. There will be moments when you don't feel like yourself or you have too much on you. And people believing that just because you're a stay-at-home mom, you somehow have it easy, when it is the complete opposite. You're cooking, cleaning, teaching, nurturing. It is a thankless job. And the people who think it's not hard is because their children are in daycare, at school, and others are taking care of their children. And believe it or not, work is their escape. Now, Charlotte, I loved you, but bacon in a vintage white Valentino skirt with toddlers was not your best decision. But we know Charlotte likes to be put together all the time. Erin was such a sweetheart. She came home and immediately sensed that Charlotte needed a break. Charlotte didn't even need to say anything. I just loved her emotional awareness in that moment, which showed why Charlotte hired her. The following scene, we get Smith calling Samantha, inviting her to his red carpet date for his new movie premiere. And I'm sorry, what? Samantha broke up with him. Why are we revisiting this? I'm pretty sure Smith could have brought anyone else. I don't know why they painted him as always being indebted to Samantha. Did she help him? Absolutely yes. And he thanked her for that immensely. But it gets tired after a while when they continuously make it a storyline. But of course, they needed a reason to get everyone to Abu Dhabi later. And quite frankly, with the way they carried on, we didn't need it. They would have been better off going to Italy or Greece. Carrie and Big are celebrating their anniversary and she gifts him a vintage Rolex. And he gives her a TV for their bedroom. Now, Big, don't piss me off. You know Carrie. You know all of the things she loves. But then again, he always had his secretaries purchasing her gifts. There's also that. A rare pair of vintage Dior heels, a bag she mentioned 5 years ago that she's been trying to find for years. Something her. Instead, the gift you gave her was more of a for us gift. And while I get that it had sentimental value to him, a cozy night in just for them two, it should have been a bonus gift, not the gift. Carrie brought something that was for you and really thought of you. Carrie irritated me in the following scene. She wants to go to this event, so she asks if Samantha can get her and Big invited to the movie premiere. Samantha comes through, as she always does, but Carrie still wants to be a party girl at all of the hottest events and movie premieres and red carpets. I just don't understand her. You've gone through all of these years wanting Big to commit and be yours and to be yours and wanted it to just be the two of you. Now you're finally in the relationship, marriage you wanted, but you're still holding on to the old version of yourself. Now, growth doesn't mean giving up fun, but it does mean shifting your priorities. Big was tired and didn't really want to be bothered with going out. He's older now and there's nothing wrong with wanting peace and comfort over chaos and flashing lights. The girls go shopping for something to wear to Smith's premiere. And when Samantha tells the sales rep that she wants a specific dress, this woman has the nerve to tell her, "Isn't that a little young?" Let me tell you something. As someone who worked in luxury retail in my late teens and early 20s, this is something you never say to a client, especially one who clearly has influence, money, and connections, especially if it's a client who's been a long-time shopper with the store. And even if they weren't, that's how you get let go of, or at the very least, pulled into the office for a write-up. And of course, Samantha shuts her all the way down.
Not that it matters, but I am 50 fucking 2 and I will rock this dress.
Now, me personally, I didn't think the dress was too young, but it was hideous. The belt, the sequins, the shape, it wasn't flattering and did nothing for her. Samantha has pulled off better looks when they were just going out to lunch. Later, Carrie tells Big they're going to the event and the man just walked in the door. He's already over it, and honestly, I can't blame him. The loud fans screaming, the flashing lights and press. Why would he want to go? Especially after coming from work during this time, which was after the recession in 2008. Even though they don't tap into it, he mentioned the stocks and he was drained. Carrie convinces him to go, but he clearly wasn't feeling it. They get to the premiere and boom, Samantha shows up in the same dress as Miley Cyrus. Even though people thought it was a fashion miss, I thought it was cute how Miley came over and hugged Samantha to take a picture in their dresses. While at the premiere, Samantha's chatting with Smith and gets introduced to hotel investors who want her PR expertise for their Abu Dhabi property. And that's how the trip gets set up. Meanwhile, Big is having a light conversation with Carmen, a bank investor, played by the beautiful Penelope Cruz, and Carrie catches them and is jealous. Even if she won't say it outright, you can tell. And she was so annoying after this. She would always take something so small and turn it into a whole dramatic spiral. Big rightfully asks her what's her problem when they're back at home because she's being passive aggressive, telling him to turn the TV down.
It's a little loud. And for the record, that is not a black and white movie.
What?
That was supposed to be for black and white movies, and that is not a black and white movie.
When the gay guy hit on me at the wedding, you thought it was funny.
I'm not upset about the flirt. I liked the flirt. In fact, you could dial up the flirt around here a little more. I get,
You're not happy in, you're not happy out.
what does that mean?
Well, what do you want from me? I put on the shirt, I went to the thing, and now you're hammering me about lying in bed and watching a little TV? I mean, what is the problem?
It's like she could never allow herself to be happy. She needed everything to be over the top, spontaneous, and thrilling all the time. And that's not how life is. She was never fully satisfied and was constantly chasing a feeling instead of appreciating what she had. I can see a red carpet event once in a blue, maybe once every year. But Carrie wanted to continuously be the same girl she was when she was single. Carrie tells Big she's spending 2 days at her old apartment to focus on writing, and I get it. I feel like this is actually a good thing and healthy in a relationship. It's good for couples to have a little space sometimes, and every relationship and marriage is different. Needing time alone doesn't automatically mean something is wrong, but every week, I think that's excessive. Maybe every other week or twice a month, but every week, no. At lunch, Samantha invites the girls to Abu Dhabi, and of course, they're in. Carrie's packing, and Big casually mentions that he thinks they should start spending 2 days apart every week. I know some people think Big wanted time from Carrie too, but I actually think he didn't want to mess up another marriage and wanted it to work with Carrie. It felt like he was trying to meet Carrie halfway. The issue was that Carrie didn't seem to know what she wanted. It wasn't really about space, but more so about miscommunication.
You want your own apartment?
No, not my own apartment. Just a place that I can go 2 days a week, lie around, watch television, do the shit I want to do that bugs you. And then the other 5 days, I'd be here and available for dinners and sparkle.
So the girls are in first class, living large, just like Samantha promised. While on the plane, Carrie opens up about her and Big taking 2 days apart from one another every week. Samantha and Miranda support her and understand. And of course, Charlotte has something to say because she always does. And she could be closed-minded when it came to how others navigated in their marriages and relationships. But Carrie shut her down quickly and let her know it's their marriage, and they'll set whatever rules they want, which is accurate. That is not your place, Miss Charlotte, and I love you down, but that's not your place.
Big and I are just trying to make our own rules. You know, figure out what works best for us as a couple, not what society says should work for us. Oh, okay. Charlotte, we're adults with no children. We have the luxury to design our own life.
But doesn't it hurt your feelings that he would want time off?
You just don't get it.
The girls arrive in Abu Dhabi, and from the moment they touch down, there's already a problem. Samantha, between the hormone treatments, vitamins, and other necessities for her menopause, security ends up confiscating her stash after they go through clearance. But once that chaos is over, they're greeted like absolute royalty. Luxury cars, personal drivers, and their penthouse suite was absolutely beautiful. The way they were treated was top notch. Miranda quickly jumped into the responsible mode, telling the women was and wasn't acceptable because they were clueless. Miranda was the only one who seemed remotely prepared for this trip, and while she had her moments where she got on my nerves as a character, I always appreciated how analytical, organized, and grounded she was. And she understood the importance of respecting the customs of the country they were visiting. These women traveled to a foreign place with no awareness, no research, and absolutely no cultural sensitivity. If it weren't for Miranda, who made it a point to understand the basics and honor the culture, things could have gone left very quickly, which happens with Samantha when Miranda wasn't around. What annoyed me was how she constantly had to remind grown women in their 40s and 50s not to behave like entitled tourists. Yes, she also had fun and enjoyed herself, but she did that without being offensive or disruptive. Some Americans travel with this sense of superiority and don't know how to act in other countries. And I'm saying that as a whole American, but I watch how some Americans operate when they go to other countries. And the same can be said for people who travel here too, who don't like how we operate in America. But again, when you're going to another country, how you view things and what your opinion is does not matter. There are laws, customs, and culture in place, and it does not matter how you feel. You can feel how you want to feel, but don't go disrespecting a country because of how you think things should be ran and how you think things should be done, which I'll get into when it comes to Samantha. They were so ignorant. You've got Carrie staring, giggling, and mocking the women for how they eat and dress. It was so out of line and just had a nasty tone of superiority. These women aren't props in an exhibit for your amusement. Why would you think giggling and staring at women like this is appropriate? And then there is Samantha, who is told the way she carries on back home is not acceptable and is not tolerated here. But she thinks she's special and those rules shouldn't apply to her.
And speaking of don'ts, men and women do not embrace in public in the Middle East.
No. She's talking to you, sister.
Oh, please, we're going to the new Middle East.
Anyway, Charlotte is trying to get in touch with Harry back home because she's let the girls get in her mind about the nanny and she's paranoid. The girls are enjoying themselves and decide to do some shopping, and of course Carrie goes to do her favorite thing, and that's shop for shoes. And when she's done getting her shoes and some spices, she sees Aiden. Whose idea was this to bring Aiden back? The two converse and tell each other why they're in Dubai, and Aiden tells her to give him a call, which we know is not a good idea. The girls are by the pool in the following scene, and Carrie tells the girls about her run-in with Aiden, and Charlotte is asking the real questions. But Carrie, the queen of chaos and confusion, loves to downplay things when she's confronted. Girl, why are you acting like this will be some casual meetup with old friends and nothing more?
Is he still married?
I have no idea.
Was he wearing a wedding ring?
I believe he was.
Are you gonna have dinner with him?
Carrie decides to go on the date, which again was no surprise. And when Charlotte rightfully tells her it's a slippery slope, Carrie does what she always does, and that's to snap, and she goes low. And Charlotte didn't deserve
I
it.
think you're playing with fire.
Oh my God, now I'm playing with fire? All right, you've gone crazy. Seriously, you're crazy in Abu Dhabi. Just because you're worried about your marriage. Everyone's gonna cheat. Have a good time at dinner.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm just really, really tired. I'm gonna take a nap.
Take a nice long nap, and then I'll buy you a drink. How's 9 sound?
Okay.
Okay.
She's been riding for you for years through every big breakdown, and now you're weaponizing her fears as a mother and a wife against her. Baby, Charlotte is good, because I would have read Carrie for filth before she left for her date with Aiden. Ma'am, you chased Big for years, and when he was tired of having his fun and wanted someone who'd accept his breadcrumbs, you were there to turn those breadcrumbs into a meal. He left you at the altar and embarrassed you, and whose arms did you cry on, and who put Big in their place? Charlotte. And you would know about cheating and it being the norm because you've been a willing participant in it and would have gotten gold medals if it were a sport. Miranda, you can tell by this point in her life, was exhausted with Carrie's antics. She's been doing this for years, and Carrie only wants to hear that she's right and doesn't like accountability anyway. She knew nothing she said would change Carrie's mind. But when Charlotte cried and just turned away, My heart broke for her. And you can tell that it really hurt Charlotte's feelings. I hated the way Carrie would speak to her friends when she was upset. I don't care how mad or angry you are, you don't get to speak to me that way. That would be enough to cut her off. She constantly did that. She did it to Miranda, she did it to Samantha, and she did it to Charlotte. Especially to the point where you're making your friend cry. And yes, we know Charlotte is sensitive, but still. And they were all so supportive of Carrie, but they never got that same energy in return. Yes, I'm not saying she was a bad, horrible friend. However, they always put more in their friendship than she did. Thankfully, Miranda scooped her up and said,
"Not on my watch."
And this was such a therapeutic moment for Charlotte because she's never shared these things with anyone.
I love my girls,
I know that.
but I have enjoyed not having them around. I needed a...
So for this part of the video, I had to cut it out because I got a copyright claim even for just the audio. So for the rest of the video, there aren't going to be clips, and if there are, they're going to be extremely short because of the copyright. I love how Miranda was so supportive and told her it's okay. You're not the only mother who feels like this, and sometimes mothers need to hear that. It was really one of the moments that made me love Charlotte more because she was open about her struggles when it came to motherhood. Yes, she had everything she ever wanted and dreamed about when it came to marriage and children, but it doesn't mean she doesn't sometimes feel like it's all too much. And her being scared to voice that because of her fertility issues was real, because I think Charlotte thought it would mean she was ungrateful and a bad mother because of that experience and being blessed after what she went through. But it was actually something that a lot of mothers go through. Now, even though I am not a mother, I know women who experience that guilt. Meanwhile, Samantha is taking a bath and getting ready for her date with Ricard, who I thought to be so handsome. And Carrie comes in spiraling because she kissed Aiden. Oh, who didn't see that coming?
Wow.
Charlotte told you. She told you twice. That innocent dinner was never innocent. And Aiden was out of pocket too. This man cheated on his wife. I wonder if he ever told her. Aiden cut his hair and he cut his good sense too. The girls all give their thoughts. Samantha tells her to sleep on it before telling Big, no ma'am. A kiss is a kiss and it's cheating in my book. If it were Big and he cheated with Natasha, even if it was just a kiss, Carrie would have lost it and started stalking Natasha again. Samantha goes on her date with Ricard and her behavior was beyond disrespectful. At 50 years old, you mean to tell me you still haven't developed any impulse control or self-awareness? It wasn't just embarrassing and inconsiderate. She couldn't contain herself for a few days. In a country where public displays of affection and overt sexual behavior are considered incredibly inappropriate, she's making vulgar jokes, groping this man in public, and behaving like the culture should bend to her. There was nothing liberating about this. It was just entitlement on Samantha's part. Back at the hotel, Carrie calls Big and tells him about the kiss with Aiden. He doesn't say much, and he had a right to his feelings. Carrie could have told him this when she got home. I feel like telling him over the phone was inconsiderate.
And I'm sorry.
I'm at work, Carrie. I have to go.
Carrie kissing Aiden and having this confusion only 2 years into their marriage was just classic Carrie. Before she can even process Big's reaction, she gets a call that Samantha has been detained. Samantha, girl.
We were just kissing, and this uptight couple told the security guard to arrest us.
See, kissing is something. It's illegal.
So now she's waking Miranda up in the middle of the night because Samantha needs a lawyer. Just a mess. And when she gets there, Samantha doesn't even have any remorse. She keeps repeating it was just a kiss as if that absolves her of her behavior and as if it wasn't about to go further before they were caught. Later that morning, the girls are told they need to either pay $22,000 a night or leave. Samantha tries to be defiant and Miranda tells her,
Let him sue me.
The punishment for not paying your hotel bill in the UAE is jail.
and I was completely on the side of Abu Dhabi. You don't respect my country or people, you can leave. They're about to head to the airport when guess who leaves her passport? Carrie. First of all, they completely overpacked. 4 to 5 suitcases was ridiculous, and I love fashion and looking good, but they did not need all of those clothes for a 1-week stay. 1 carry-on and 1 large suitcase would have been good. But the one item you're always supposed to keep on you when traveling abroad is your passport. I check if I have my passport about 5 times because it's not something you want to lose while in another country. The girls head back to get her passport, and luckily the man she purchased her shoes from held it for her. As they're leaving, Charlotte decides to wander off because she forgot to get gifts for Harry and the girls from the exact market the guide warned them not to go to. They end up leaving the market, but not before chaos ensues and the guy from the shop tries to snatch Samantha's Birkin.
Birkin!
Sorry, mistake.
He needed to get bopped upside his head, but listen, we don't know what the consequences of that would have been. Not you selling fake bags and having the audacity to try to snatch a bag out of her hand without even verifying if it was hers. The strap pops and everything spills out, including condoms. The men around her immediately start shouting at Samantha and condemning her. Now look, whether you agree with the culture or not, or how women are treated, this is not your country. Have some respect. Instead of de-escalating the situation, Samantha decides to go full on Samantha. She starts yelling about how much sex she has and humping the air. Samantha. Now, Samantha, why would you do that? I mean, it's not funny, it's inappropriate, but it's so Samantha. After all of that, the girls rush back to the hotel to make it in time for the first class flight. This movie was chaotic from beginning to end. What I didn't know was that it wasn't even filmed in Abu Dhabi but Morocco, because the producers were denied permission to film in both Abu Dhabi and Dubai, which was their first choice, which I understand completely. They had no respect for the culture or values. And even after being denied, Michael thought it was a brilliant idea to move forward with the same disrespectful script is the main reason they denied him to film there. He reduced a complex, rich culture to a punchline. In the end, Big gives Carrie a ring as punishment for cheating, and it was atrocious. The ring was so hideous. They kept Carrie's old apartment as a little emotional escape pod for when any of the girls get overwhelmed, which Charlotte clearly needed. Erin, the beautiful nanny, none of the men ever stood a chance with her because they weren't her type, because she was a lesbian. The only redeeming part of this movie was the wardrobe and Charlotte and Miranda bonding over the raw emotional parts of motherhood, something Carrie and Samantha didn't really understand. And with that being said, this video has come to an end. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Also, make sure your notification bells are turned on so that you always know when I upload. And I will catch you guys in the next one.